If you had a daughter, would you rather her be in the woods with a man or a bear?
A man.
Why would you not rather her be in the woods with a bear?
Because a bear will kill her and eat her. For a fact. That's for a fact.
That's not for a fact.
That is
not
for a
all
fact.
bears kill and eat. And if you avoid the bear, but like, why is the man in the woods? What is the man doing in the woods?
What is my daughter doing in the woods?
If a man is in the woods and you're in the woods, he probably has ill intentions towards you, whereas a bear is just acting.
I don't know when this conversation of would a woman be safer in the woods with a bear or a man? This is the stupidest question. Obviously, if there's a choice between being lost in the woods with a bear or a man, I'm going to choose the man because, but also maybe the man can protect me from the bear. Why do you think that a bear would have your back? It's a bear. It's a bear. It's a wild animal. And the other is a human man that's natural instinct is to protect a woman. The grizzly bear's instinct is probably to eat you. Like, what are we doing?
Oh, bother. It's a win-win for women.
But I have a great friend who I've had since I was 11, who's a male, who would never sleep with me, doesn't want to sleep with me. Yes.
If you called him at 2 a.m. and said, I'm drunk and horny, he would...
He 100% wouldn't me.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Ever. There's just never been that. I think because we grew up together from such a young age, there isn't an attraction. He's literally like my family.
No.
Yes.
No.
And he would never me.
He would have given an opportunity.
He would never.
Women constantly think that their friendship and their company is more valuable than it really is. The reality is that most men wouldn't talk to you guys.
Most men value women, though. You don't like us.
Most men would not talk to women if they didn't have...
That's also not a true statement.
Mother of God, it's all toilet sound.
There's never been a situation where a girl had a man and it stopped me. You know what I'm saying? The one time that a girl did have a husband, I might have been like, I don't know, 26. She had a husband and I was like, damn, should I do this? She's married. And I was like, yeah, 100%. Why not? Like, he married that. That's his L. If I don't do it, somebody else gonna do it. It's bound to happen. So I'm gonna rob myself because of a situation that's going to present itself again.
Is this how niggas
So I did it.
give themselves their own advice?
I said this at 8 at the table. If she wanted to not be here, she wouldn't be here. If I want you and you're pursuing me, why am I going to say no? Why do I have to have the integrity of your relationship? You're not respecting your relationship. I'm not going to respect your relationship, especially if you're putting it on a table for me to have and it doesn't require a lot. It's like an easy investment. That's like you throwing money on, you throwing 25 on red, knowing red's going to come out. Bound to win. There's no loss here for me.
I feel like that's the excuse that anyone gives themselves when they mess with someone that they know is in a relationship. Is like, I don't owe that person no loyalty. You owe that person loyalty. So I'm still going to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. She has to defend the rim, not me.
And if someone's still in her 20s, what about you? I mean, I've definitely said that before. Like, I don't be owing nobody no loyalty. But whatever. What about you?
Yeah.
You have?
Definitely. But I'm saying, I'll usually tell them, like, you don't want these problems. And...
Oh, because you come with problems.
No, I'm saying, like, Rico can probably attest to this, but you can meet women, and you can meet women that are just too good for what you're trying to do. Like, I know that I'm gonna take you somewhere where you can't even handle where I'm about to take you, and I don't really want to do that to your life.
That's nice. I mean,
I'm saying
no. I get it. I get it. 100%.
You can see.
I need you to say more words.
No, he's actually saying he's actually saying he cares about where she's going to end up after this, and he doesn't want to be responsible for what he's going to do to her.
Yeah, like,
but not like physically do to her.
Yeah, not the jackhammer. You ever see a man or woman, somebody you're attracted to, right? And you could tell you guys have a good conversation, everything's cool, and like you've already like sized them up, did all the science in your head and everything like that, and be like, this is so easy, and I'm not going to be good for you.
As Sun Tzu once said, don't hate the player, hate the game, dog. Jokes aside, of course I'm not saying that everyone should go out and be Chad or Tyrone whenever they have the chance. What I will say, however, is that one of the biggest issues modern women have today is that they think they understand men, and that's a huge problem. Chicks will go out without their husband, hang out with an old male friend from high school, and get all pissed off when the man of the house questions it. They'll play the role of girl boss, working underneath a very promiscuous employer, and argue that they're winning the game. I've even seen women go to a jiu-jitsu class, roll around with a man that is clearly bricked up, and giggle with a ring on their finger. None of this is serious to them. Why? Because the protected class can't remember a time when they weren't protected. Life's a playground filled with role-playing and innocence. If there's a man in the picture trying to explain the situation, they chuckle as if they have a doctorate in masculinity, and without question, this creates chaos. The kind of chaos that no man on the planet desires. Before we go on, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to Pete the Builder, who shared a story that is well worth the read. Let's go. I dated a 39-year-old and she tried making me pay child support after I broke up with her. Her son is 16 and she tried convincing the court that I'm his biological father. I'm 23 by the way, so if I was his biological father, she would have gotten pregnant when I was 7 and she would have been 23. She wanted me to pay $10,000. Court saw right through her bull and she lost custody over her son. I checked in with her son a few weeks ago, and this kid has a future planned and is now disciplined. Just goes to show that the mother shouldn't have the children, and that the children will be better and more successful with the father. Holy shit. And this is exactly why we're going our own way. Thank you for sharing that. So please, don't forget to reach out to my email to claim your $5. As always, guys, I'll be picking one comment from each video. Could be the funniest, the most liked, or just one that stuck out to me. So don't forget to leave a comment, and you may be our very next winner. Be sure to hit that like and sub button too, as that helps out a ton. Also, guys, we got a backup channel now, linked in the description. I'll be posting similar stuff there too, so subscribe to that just in case. Link is right down below. Now, back to the video.
Embrace your masculinity.
Am I like the only woman that no longer gets approached by men?
Nice shot!
You told us to leave you alone. That's what we're doing.
I typically find a guy, and in the first 3 months, he'll always be anything I wanted, whatever. But after those 3 months, then he starts acting weird.
Bingo. This is deep right here. She said the first 3 months, he's anything I want. The guy encounters her and he can see that veneer of attitude, so he plays nice, right? And then you let him in, right? But then you encounter a real one and you say, I didn't like what you said. But that might be the one you need. What you think about what he just said?
I don't necessarily agree, but I do understand.
Bruh.
Allow me to repeat what many have said before. He gave you the answer to the test and you still failed. Women in the West have been given the rule book for millennia. These topics and points have been made hundreds of times, but to admit that anything in the manual is correct would be to admit that the fabric of feminist logic is about as tough as Swiss cheese. So they always respond with something vague like, I see what you're trying to say, but I'm not sure how this applies to my situation. There are a lot of reasons why a woman would feel this way, but one of the primary sources of this delusion, in my and undoubtedly your opinion, is that they think everyone on the feminist side of the aisle is as unique as a fingerprint. In other words, everyone's different. You can't label me. I'm the main character in this story. Of course, the major flaw here is that by making this statement, assuming that they're special, is they assume that they know how men work. Or more specifically, they think they know how the system works, a system they played no role in creating. Let me explain. Say, I go to a Japanese restaurant and ask for a burger and fries, and they proceed to politely tell me that they don't serve that here. I tell them that if they want anything to do with me, they're going to have to find a way to make it work. Now, in the mind of a woman, this kind of logic makes perfect sense. They've bought into the marketing and propaganda, the customer is always right. Or in the feminist case, happy wife, happy life. But the thing is, the customer is always right only loosely applies to retail. It's been warped. The priority, the benefits, goes to those who are providing the actual service. They, in our case, the men, are the ones that present real value. We don't have to pay. You have to pay. Somewhere along the way, women started coming into the masculine restaurant, ordering things that weren't on the menu, and getting pissed off when the requests weren't being fulfilled. Why? Because the West started advertising for masculinity in a way that catered to consumer interest, female interest. And again, this is stupid, presumptuous, and dangerous.
They don't have husbands.
Quan. Tell them your name and what you do for a living.
My name Quan. I work for Element Electronics. I already knew that shit.
He gets it.
How much money should a guy make per year?
At least I'd say like 300K. 300K.
300. Who makes 300K?
Our boyfriends. Yeah.
Your boyfriend makes it?
Yeah.
300K?
300K. My boyfriend works at Walmart.
Your boyfriend works at Walmart and makes 300K?
Yeah. He told me.
Wait, he told you he made 300K?
Yeah, that's why I'm with him.
Is he the CEO?
Like, no, he's just an employee. Like, he works the checkout line.
Okay, here we go again. I can already hear what women would say about this in my head. Well, that's not fair. They lied to them. These women that look like they belong on the corner deserve 6 figures. Or, it's funny and true. The man should work for everything. Well, using the rulebook that they refuse to read, allow me to answer all of these in a single sentence. They told you that the sushi was their take on a burger and fries because you refused to leave the restaurant. These women don't deserve bacon grease, and the wife in the first clip won't last 4 years. We know all of this because we are men. You think it's the opposite because you've been taught that you already get men, even though over 40% of you will be dying alone in the next century. See, men are very forward about their needs. We see it in every book, podcast, or forum that men participate in, and yet women will respond with, not questions, but what they believe to be hard facts, claiming that the supposed patriarchy has created a massive conspiracy to put women in the home and take everything for themselves. By doing this, by trying to argue that they understand what men want, even though a clear outline is there, they've ironically cut themselves off from the one thing that would actually make them content. And this is where the denial kicks in.
Wish I was special. So fucking special.
Nothing's changed. I ask everyone to rate their looks on a scale of 1 to 10. You can't pick 7.
I would give myself a realistic 6.5. Okay.
Oh my god.
Rude it, Andrew.
Okay.
Oh wait, I wasn't muted? I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude, we could hear. We heard that, Andrew.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, man.
We can see you too.
I was laughing at something my chat said.
Good hard look in the.
You said, why ugly men have high standards for women?
Yeah, I think it's very strange. Like, it's always the fuggliest men that have the most to say.
But who are you to appraise men of how they look? What if they think they're a 10?
Well, again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, what I might think is a 10, someone might think is, a 5.
But like maybe these men who you think are ugly, like a lot of women think they're 10s.
Okay,
and so wouldn't it be fair for them
women.
to have high standards?
No.
Also, what's wrong with having high standards even if you're not attractive?
I mean, I just think like you need to take a good hard look in the mirror and be like, all right, I'm a fugly man and I shouldn't have such high standards.
Should fugly women also think that way?
I don't think women are fugly.
I think some are.
So there's fugly men, but not fugly women?
Absolutely.
Are all women 10s?
Sure, yeah.
Are all men 10s?
No.
Interesting how that works.
When in doubt, turn to delusion. The example I'm using here is the plus-sized gals, and there's a clear reason for this. If there were a mascot for feminists who think they understand the way the world works, well, they'd be it. I mean, think about it. They're self-indulgent, they take up space, they ignore the data, and everything they do is an effort to rationalize their lifestyle. And when you really cut down to the bone of the issue, that's what we're really dealing with here. Women playing pretend, founding a movement that rejects the very laws of nature for their own personal gain. It's why we have the man and bear question. It's so dumb, but somehow the West has plunged headfirst into a world where this is a constant part of the conversation. It's why we have to look back at the basics to find any semblance of clarity. The island shows have to be one of the most viral and irrefutable examples of how men are the obvious choice for who should be steering the proverbial ship, along with game shows, competitions, or anything else that requires cooperation and spatial awareness. But this doesn't stop most modern chicks from stomping one foot on the ground, screaming and saying something like, "It's not fair, this was clearly made for men." The funny part is that they're right. However, because they don't understand men, they're right for the wrong reasons. To them, the reason for the repeated failure of women in the workplace or a deserted island is that men created systems that keep them out of power, when the reality is, if men weren't in the picture, there wouldn't be any systems at all. Hence the deserted island reference. These chicks were literally left to their own devices, much like the conditions the Western governments have left with them today. They could have done anything with the materials available. There were no men in sight, the men they believed to be the real danger, the men they believed were the source of all their self-inflicted suffering. But what they discover, and ignore, time and time again, is that women on their own have no idea what their path is, because no man was there to pave the way for them. So now, we see something similar to what we see on these survival shows, except now it's something that takes place in city streets, clubs, and shady bars. The Lost Woman.
Okay, so I'm at Home Depot because I'm gonna find a husband today. I don't know which one, but whoever's lucky here, we're gonna find.
Replace your old muffler.
I'm also a stripper.
Now, what if... All right, well, Nucci, that is all the balloons popped, but we do thank you so much for coming on. Let's go ahead and give it up for her, guys.
Thank you, guys.
So, what do the Home Depot lady and this exotic dancer have in common? Well, there are two things, really. They are now showing that they are at the mercy of men, but they still think they understand men, rendering the former about as appealing as haggis on a hot day. See, chicks that come out of an environment that tells them they're all-knowing, dress up in tight, almost non-existent clothing, cake on makeup, and turn themselves into a knockoff Cardi B because they have to come to believe that a real man will take a look at that or anything else shared here today and say, "Damn, that's wife material," when the closest thing they'll get to that is a trip to Wendy's and a not-so-happy ending. They've abandoned the structure, morals, laws, and traditions that masculinity offers in exchange for walking around the island thirsty, because the hive mind taught them that men will line up as long as you debase yourself. And as much as they like to push back on the idea that they are objects or property, pretty much every act proves the opposite, with the key difference in the modern era being that the property for sale is barren or riddled with unsalvageable material. In the beginning, fresh out of liberal arts colleges or salon schools, all these women really think that they can ride the carousel, bring what they've learned into a man's home, and expect a stable future with all the benefits males provide. Of course, this never happens anymore. Most men wised up, so now they show their true colors.
Honestly, that most men are like females right now.
Why?
I don't know. They like to take a role where they want to date a super successful woman. They have all this fantasy about building an empire with them, but really when you get home, you want all the drama and all the stress that comes when you build an empire, because they're just a mirror of who you are. So if you come stressed at home, how does your wife come?
So what should a man be looking for in a woman, in your opinion?
I think he should be looking for, is she happy and is she caring?
How does a man find that?
I mean, if you see her walking in the street and she's looking at other girls, judging them, she's clearly not very happy. But you can just see it. You see somebody that's smiling all the time.
So when a man does find someone that is happy and is caring, how does he lock her in to be his wifey?
In my opinion, he's just sweet with her, and he really makes her feel safe and protected.
What has been the toughest thing about finding a man?
Not gonna happen.
If you're a girl and you're beautiful, smart, hardworking, and driven, you are most likely single right now. I honestly just think the options are so limited because hear me out. So like as a girl, you want to find a partner that exceeds you in every single area. So like you want someone that looks better than you, is smarter than you, is more hardworking, has better like social characteristics. Like you look for a partner that has like better qualities than you, or
that's not a partner, that would be a superior.
at least like meets you. And not to be an absolute bitch of a person, but it's like when you're a girl that has all of her shit together, looks good, is hardworking, makes a lot of money. It's like, where do you go from there? There's so limited options. And then it's like the guys that are good options that would fit your standards are just cunts.
She forgot to mention humble, didn't she? And you know, these types of guys who she's talking about that would meet her standards, they don't want to date some arrogant boss babe who lacks femininity.
But she wouldn't know that, even though she claims to know what men desire. Plenty of tests have been conducted regarding this topic. Women are shown a series of pictures, and if a man seems successful, no matter what he looks like, he is the favorite. For men, maternal anatomy and homemaking qualities were the favorite. Why? Because this is biology, this is nature, and this is reality. While these are accessible truths for anyone sensible to look at them closely, women en masse refuse to do so. Because again, if they were to acknowledge the unbreakable rule book, they'd have to admit that they don't understand the world around them. Put another way, they'd have to admit that the world around them, the one that keeps them fed or overfed, keeping the lights on, keeps them safe enough to whine, is a world that they could not even dream of having if it weren't for millions of men breaking their backs to make it happen. So now we're here, having fun with what we have, unwilling to give any favors for a negative ROI.
Let's talk about the nigga at Walmart real quick, okay? Let's say a woman is used to being wined and dined and treated and taken out on trips and all these stuff like that. She's used to that. Do you expect that same woman to date Walmart man and like, hey babe, I think I want to go to Cancun this weekend? Well, you gonna have to wait maybe 2 to 3 months for me to come up with that. And I bet you it's not even gonna be a sweet. It's not even gonna be a sweet. It's not gonna be all inclusive. Why judge the woman that's used to being treated a certain way because she doesn't want Mr. Walmart?
How the hell you gonna talk shit about a man that work at Walmart and they don't be having no fucking job? How the hell is she gonna talk about shit about a man can't take her to Cancun and she ain't pay for the last Cancun trip her damn self? Women always want to leverage what another person did for them when they didn't do for their fucking self. You are sitting there coming at working, hard-working men that have a job, they get up every day to go provide for their family while this motherfucker bitch in this motherfucker sitting down eating lobster tails. Bull fucking shit. How about you take your goddamn self to Cancun since you're so motherfucking masculine and you want to humiliate him? Well, humiliate yourself a fucking Delta plane ticket. Oh, excuse me. Y'all fly Spirit around this motherfucker.
They're going wrong they're settling.
I did 1.2 million last year. She did $100. I'm settling. I live in a nice 4,000 square foot house. She stays in apartments. I'm settling. My kids are in private school. Her kids barely go to school. I'm settling. My kids got the new Jordans. Her kids got the new Air Force Bobos. I'm settling.
Thank you for your service. Men, women in the West especially, but it's trickling down, are gonna come to you with a set of expectations because they think they understand you. And because they think they understand you, they're going to ask way too much of you, with nothing on the table in return. Instead, focus on the things that matter. Focus on the journey that only you and your brothers actually understand because you lived it. Preserve that value and you can only go up from there. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want to say I appreciate you. So don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to win, and hit that subscribe button for daily videos. And if you could take a quick sec to subscribe to the second channel, Man Guide Reacts, link is down below in the description, so we can be sure our message will keep on reaching the new men out there. I appreciate all the support, y'all.